News alerts flashed across screens worldwide, interrupting regular programming and sending shockwaves through living rooms, offices, and government war rooms alike. The headline was impossible to ignore. Iran reveals secret underground missile base. Within minutes, the story was trending across every major news outlet and social media platform. For a few hours, Iranian state TV unveiled a hidden military facility, carved deep into a mountainside and protected by layers of concrete and secrecy. The message was unmistakable. Iran's missile arsenal is not only advanced, but also heavily fortified and ready for deployment at a moment's notice. The timing was no accident. This broadcast came just days before new negotiations with US diplomats in Vienna, raising the stakes and shifting the tone of the talks before they even began. Was this a bold act of defiance, a calculated negotiating tactic, or a dangerous miscalculation that could spiral out of control? Analysts in Washington, Tel Aviv, and Riyadh pored over every frame, searching for hidden details, counting missile tubes, analyzing insignias, and debating the true capabilities on display. The broadcast spotlighted the Khoramshahr-4, Iran's latest and most sophisticated ballistic missile, capable of reaching targets far beyond its borders. Cameras lingered on its sleek design, advanced launch systems, and the chilling precision of its engineering, each shot carefully chosen to project power and technological prowess. The segment was a masterclass in military messaging, meant to inspire pride at home, rallying the Iranian public and send a clear warning to adversaries abroad. Then, as suddenly as it began, the footage vanished from state media, leaving viewers stunned and confused. Official reports were deleted, news websites wiped clean, and journalists found themselves staring at blank screens, fueling a frenzy of speculation and rumor. Had Iran's leadership overplayed its hand, or was this sudden silence part of a larger, more complex strategy? The world was left with more questions than answers, but the images and their implications were already out, impossible to erase. They were being analyzed, debated, and dissected by experts and officials everywhere, setting the stage for tense, high-stakes negotiations. The world watched, holding its breath, as the story continued to unfold, uncertain of what would come next, but knowing that nothing would ever be quite the same. The footage was pure military theater, an orchestrated display designed to project strength and unity to both domestic and international audiences. Every frame was carefully curated, every angle chosen to maximize the sense of awe and intimidation. A massive steel door slid open with a deep metallic rumble, revealing a tunnel bustling with missile launchers, uniformed officers, and the hum of activity. The scene was reminiscent of a Cold War-era superpower unveiling its latest weapon. This was no ordinary bunker, it was a fortress, engineered to withstand direct attack and ensure the survival of Iran's strategic arsenal. Layers of reinforced concrete and steel, hidden deep underground, made it clear. This installation was built to guarantee retaliation, no matter the odds. At its heart stood the Khoramshahr-4, a formidable liquid-fueled missile boasting a range of over 2,000 kilometers. Technicians swarmed around it, checking every detail, underscoring the missile's importance to Iran's military doctrine. Its reach covers much of the Middle East, including Israel and US bases, putting key adversaries well within striking distance. The implications for regional security were unmistakable. The broadcast highlighted its advanced guidance and mobile launch system, making it not only accurate but also elusive, hard to find, and even harder to destroy before launch. This mobility complicates any preemptive strike. The facility's command centers, fuel depots, and maintenance bays were all shown, deep within the mountain. These glimpses suggested a self-sustaining complex, capable of operating even under siege. The message was unmistakable. Iran's missile program is operational, not theoretical. The footage showed launches, preparations, and the IRGC's direct involvement, leaving no doubt about the program's readiness. Yet, just as the spectacle reached its peak, the broadcast was abruptly cut. Officially, technical issues were blamed, but few believed this was a simple malfunction. More likely, officials realized the display was too provocative, risking the delicate balance ahead of upcoming nuclear talks. The timing could not have been worse. Moderates in Tehran may have intervened, fearing the footage would harden US positions and undermine diplomatic efforts. The internal debate was as fierce as the external one. The gamble was clear. Show strength, but not so much as to sabotage diplomacy. It was a high-stakes game, with every move scrutinized by allies and adversaries alike. In the end, the risk outweighed the reward. The broadcast's sudden end spoke volumes about the tension behind the scenes. The world had seen enough. News outlets around the globe replayed the footage, fueling debate and concern about Iran's intentions. The Khoramshahr-4 was now a symbol of power and of peril. Its shadow loomed over the region, a reminder of the fine line between deterrence and provocation. For Tehran, the missile program is not aggression, it's survival. Scarred by the Iran-Iraq War, Iran's doctrine is built on deterrence and sovereignty. Officials insist their missiles are defensive, a red line not up for negotiation. The Khoramshahr-4 is a symbol of independence and resilience under sanctions. Iran separates its missile and nuclear programs, rejecting any attempt to link them in talks. The original nuclear deal limited uranium, not missiles, a distinction Iran fiercely defends. The broadcast was a message. Our missiles are here to stay. It warned adversaries of the cost of military action. It reassured Iranians of their security. And it told negotiators, Iran bargains from strength, not weakness. The missiles are a guarantee of survival in a dangerous neighborhood. In the eyes of Washington, Iran's growing missile arsenal is not a defensive measure, but a looming threat that cannot be ignored. U.S. policymakers view these missiles as a destabilizing force, capable of reaching American allies and military bases across the Middle East. U.S. officials consistently argue that Iran's advanced weapons programs undermine regional stability and put key partners like Israel and Saudi Arabia at risk. The concern is not just about the missiles themselves, but about the broader message they send to the region and the world. The unveiling of the Khoramshahr-4 missile, with its extended range and heavy payload, has only heightened these anxieties, serving as a stark reminder of Iran's advancing capabilities. In response, the U.S. is pushing for a much broader agreement, one that doesn't just address Iran's nuclear ambitions, but also its missile program and its support for proxy groups throughout the region. Ballistic missiles are widely recognized as the most effective delivery system for a nuclear warhead. Ignoring their development, U.S. officials argue, would be dangerously short-sighted and could open the door to future conflict. This insistence on a longer and stronger deal is a direct response to critics who felt the original nuclear agreement, the JCPOA, left too many loopholes and failed to address the full spectrum of security concerns. Iran's public display of its missile arsenal, broadcast on state television, only served to harden the U.S. position and deepen skepticism among American lawmakers. For congressional hawks, the footage was seen as undeniable proof of Iran's bad faith and unwillingness to compromise. Even moderate voices, those who once advocated for engagement, found it increasingly difficult to argue for flexibility or compromise in the face of such provocative displays. The images of missile launches quickly became a symbol of the very threat the U.S. is determined to contain, fueling public anxiety and political pressure. At the heart of the standoff lies a fundamental disagreement. Should negotiations focus solely on nuclear issues, or should they encompass a comprehensive security framework that addresses all sources of tension? The latest broadcast of Iran's missile capabilities made the prospect of compromise seem even more remote, pushing both sides further apart. As each side dug in, convinced of the righteousness of its own position, the diplomatic standoff only deepened, with little room for movement. Around the world, people watched anxiously, hoping for a breakthrough that could ease tensions and prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. With Iran and the U.S. at odds, mediators like Qatar, Oman, and European powers rushed to keep diplomacy alive, their first task damage control after the missile broadcast. Omani and Qatari officials likely relayed messages from Iranian moderates, clarifying the broadcast's intent. They warned Tehran that such displays could derail talks and harden U.S. positions. Mediators floated creative solutions, sequencing talks, deferring missile issues, and offering sanctions relief for future commitments. Confidence-building steps like prisoner swaps or humanitarian aid were proposed to build trust. The hope small wins could pave the way for bigger agreements. But mistrust runs deep, and both sides fear giving up leverage. The alternative, a direct U.S.-Iran confrontation, would engulf the region. For mediators, failure is not an option. The standoff plays out amid military posturing and proxy conflicts. The U.S. bolstered its forces in the Gulf, sending a clear message of deterrence. Iran responded with naval drills and drone showcases, signaling its own readiness. Proxy wars in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria add fuel to the fire, with attacks and reprisals threatening escalation. The region is a tinderbox. One misstep could ignite a wider war. The Khoramshahr-4 broadcast was Iran's answer to US military moves. The underground base and long-range missile are central to Iran's asymmetric strategy. They offset US conventional superiority. The broadcast reminded the world, while diplomats talk, militaries prepare. The risk of conflict is ever present. Every move is watched, every signal analyzed. The stakes could not be higher. Reactions in Tehran and Washington were swift and revealing. Iranian hardliners praised the broadcast as a show of strength. The IRGC declared Iran's defensive power non-negotiable. But after the footage was pulled, diplomats stressed commitment to talks, signaling internal debate. In the US, officials called the missile a serious threat. Congress demanded a tougher stance. Some urged abandoning negotiations. The White House used the incident to argue for a broader deal. Both sides used the broadcast to reinforce their narratives. The war of words intensified, deepening the divide. The stage was set for high-stakes diplomacy. The missile broadcast exposed Iran's internal power struggle. The IRGC, guardians of the revolution, favor military strength and distrust the West. Their broadcast was a show of force, domestically and internationally. The government, focused on sanctions relief, saw the timing as a diplomatic headache. The footage's removal likely followed intense lobbying by diplomats. Supreme Leader Khamenei balances both camps, blending support for talks with praise for military might. This heroic flexibility keeps all options open. The Khoramshahr-4 affair was a public clash between deterrence and diplomacy. Iran's system is complex, with competing agendas shaping every move. The world saw the struggle play out in real time. The world watches the US-Iran standoff with deep anxiety. The stakes go far beyond these two nations. A failed diplomacy could disrupt global oil markets, destabilize the region, and undermine non-proliferation. The Strait of Hormuz, vital for global energy, would be at risk in any conflict. Oil prices would soar, economies would reel. For the Middle East, the threat is existential. A regional war could erupt, drawing in Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Iran's proxies. Neighboring states are desperate for a diplomatic solution. The outcome will shape the future of nuclear non-proliferation. If talks fail, a nuclear arms race could follow. Success would reaffirm the value of diplomacy and arms control. The world stands at a crossroads: managed stability or chaos. The Khoramshahr-4 is just one piece in this high-stakes game.